Welcome everyone to Dead Talk Live. I'm your host Viz. We are joined today by director Samuel Bodin and Woody Norman from Cobweb, which is premiering exclusively in theaters on July 21st. Samuel, Woody, thank you for being our guest today and congratulations on an absolutely fantastic film. I really enjoyed this from start to finish and I'm looking forward to talking with you guys. Samuel, I want to start with you. Cobweb does an amazing job at keeping the audience guessing throughout the entirety of the film. As the director, was it just a matter of you following the script, or were there instances that you had to improvise to sort of stay true and keep the audience on the edge of their seats?
It was always um, we had to be very cautious on that. We always say, okay, where we are in the story, what the audience has to know, what the audience has to not know, what do we want us to feel. So in each scene, and it was the same sport with the actors and with the technician part and with my DOPs. What do we want them to feel right now? So it was each scene we had to ask ourselves that question. So it's really in that scene they have to feel that I want just to see shadows. Here I just want us to see that wall. So it was really brick by brick, and nothing is by chance. Everything was planned since the beginning, and we on the set we remind ourselves every time, every day, here we are in that kind of feeling, we are in that kind of place, so we have to not tell that or just feel that. So it was really sequence by sequence work.
That's amazing. Now, Woody, your character Peter is being bullied at school, has parents that don't believe him. At the start of this film, how do you think he's coping with all these events?
I think he isn't. I kind of think he's trying to take it as it is, but it's obviously quite hard to do that. So
Yeah.
he's, you know, trying his best to process it, but struggling to do that.
And it makes him very, very vulnerable. Now, Samuel, there is a very interesting dynamic between mom Carol, dad Mark, and Peter, of course. What kind of discussions did you have with Lizzie Kaplan, Anthony Starr, and Woody? All three did a fantastic job on how you saw their dynamic playing out on the screen.
Yeah, it was. We rehearsed a lot all together before shooting, because we wanted to find, because it's a violent matter, it's a
Mhm.
complicated matter. It's talking about a kid who can't trust his parents. It's a kind of abuse thing. It's very complicated, and I wanted it to be not grounded, not real, like a little bit in a Green Brother story,
Yeah.
you know. So we worked with the actors, with Lizzie and Anthony a lot to find a language, a kind of physical position, a way to perform that is not reality.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to entering that story and not just be in defense and can't take it. So we really built our place of reality, you know,
Yeah.
it's our little universe. And we work that physically in the dress code, you know, in the vocabulary, in the performances, and each time it was very precise. So it was really again to find our own way to express ourselves in that story. So it's not grounded, but it has to be a little bit, because we want to create fear, and it's not reality, but you get to identify all the feeling of it. So it was really a work in advance, and a process, and a work on the script too. So yeah, we found our own language, and I
Exactly.
think
Yeah.
when we find it, it was so fun to play and so fun to shoot.
I can imagine. Woody, do you believe if Peter's circumstances were different, uh, would he approach that mysterious noise behind the wall differently, or would it be no matter what his circumstances were, he was going to do what he was going to do?
I think the only way that he wouldn't be intrigued and scared by the noise is if he was deaf.
That's yeah.
Because you're in the middle of the night, you're wide awake, and you hear from your wall, you hear tapping. No matter how old you are or how,
That's gonna freak you out.
yeah,
Exactly. And, I asked myself that question. If, putting myself into Peter's position, you're right. It doesn't matter how old you are or what circumstance you are, you would probably react the same way. Now, Samuel, one of the things that kept me guessing was the paranormal aspect. Was there a paranormal aspect? Wasn't there a paranormal aspect? I found myself going back and forth. Yes, no, yes. Now, without giving anything away, what is your take in the paranormal aspect of this story?
Yeah, I don't know what I can tell or not tell because I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah.
But how I can say that?
I mean,
I
I'm
love
sure.
scary story. I love scary story, and I love when everything is possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That as an audience, you say, "Oh my God, maybe they can go over there. Maybe they can go the other way. Where are we going?" And I love the fact that we work to keep that feeling all. I will not say all the movie because there is some things happening, but all the first part that you don't know what can happen. If it's supernatural, if it's not. But we, as I said before, we worked a lot with the writer Chris Delvin and the producers to be in the good place and not to be afraid to go where we have to go.
Yeah. One of the things I love is you leave a lot open for the viewer interpretation, and that's why I asked you that question. Even though you directed the film, you had your own interpretation of what it could or couldn't be. So thank you for that. Now, Woody, Miss Divine played by Cleopatra Coleman, who also did a fantastic job, becomes an important character in Peter's life. What do you think makes Peter trust her? Because we don't see him trusting any other adult.
I think, the trust stems from the fact that she listens to what he says and kind of cares. And obviously, in a lot of the other people in Peter's life, that isn't the case.
Do you think?
So,
Do you
yeah.
think he sees her as sort of his last hope of getting any kind of help from the adult world?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Samuel, what are your thoughts on the importance of Cleopatra's character, Miss Divine, to the overall story?
I think she's the only one who can save us in a way. She's the only one who is really honest. Every other character except Peter is, has secrets or something to hide or some. And suddenly you have that character, and Cleopatra is so good to that. It's so sincere, and so the goodwill of that character is so powerful that she's the only one who can save us.
Exactly.
And then you remember that you are in kind of weird Halloween fable, so nothing will go the way you want. So you count on her to save the point. I think what is really, really impressive with her is her sincerity. It's a real power, and so she really played. It was really different when we were, in scenes with her and in scenes with the parents. It's really two sides of a coin. You are totally not in the same feeling.
And that really hits home that she really cares for her students. She's a teacher, and we see throughout the film the different levels that she's willing to go to make sure that her students are safe. And a lot of teachers would not even do that, and even getting the reaction that she gets, they would never try again. But when she feels something is wrong, she's going to pursue it, and that's exactly what embodies Miss Divine. Woody, do you think the story does a good job in representing what a kid your age would do if Peter's circumstances were in real life, if it was a real story?
Yes, I do. Obviously there is a bit of you know, separation
Mm-hmm.
from reality in the film, but I do think it is, at least Peter's character and reactions are heavily grounded in what a real person would do.
Now, as you're reading the script, Woody, and you're filming this, did you ever put yourself? I mean, you did. I know you did. But as you're playing Peter, are there moments that you would have reacted differently if you're like, if this really happened to me, I would have done this instead of this? What really helped you get into that Peter mindset?
I do with other scripts, I would kind of go, okay, I wouldn't actually do that because I have experienced those things and know what I did do.
Mm-hmm.
But if this is so, so far from anything that could happen to me, that it's kind of just like I have to trust maybe a few things that weren't as out of the ordinary. I could kind of go, oh, I wouldn't really do that, and then do what I would do.
Yeah.
With the really scary scenes, it's kind of just I'd have to go with human instinct, like yeah.
Survival instinct in the moment, especially if you feel like your life is threatened. Now, Samuel, would you say the majority of this film is given to us from Peter's perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. It's what we wanted to do since the beginning. It's why, for example, with Alan Gilmour, the production designer, we built the house, the inside part of the house, a little bigger than reality,
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted us to have this kind of child feeling. I wanted to be very close to Peter. I wanted to see the world through his eyes. It's why I play a lot with shadows or this kind of thing. It's really something I remember from my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Not seeing your parents, just hear them and see their shadow or the light in the corridor or this kind of feeling. So it was really, really our exercise to be at the same level of Peter. And in the same way, I really wanted that the audience never be ahead of him. We always know what Peter knows. And I wanted to create what I think is very important in cinema. It's empathy,
Mm-hmm.
To be in his shoes, and each choice he made to say, would I do the same choice? So it was really, really an exercise to be with Peter all along. So during the shooting, I was always with Woody. The camera was always next to him, close to him, and it's Woody all along in a way.
That's amazing how you say in the beginning, you said you made the house bigger. How many of us have visited back our childhood homes and we're like, wow, it seems a lot smaller than what I remember it.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what you were hitting on, and that really is so true. Now, again, Samuel, this is a true to form psychological thriller. It is your job as a director to dig into the human psyche with the stuff like you talked about, making the house bigger, giving us the Peter point of view with the cinematography. How do you feel about that aspect of your job when it comes to directing? Is that something you really enjoy, and that is where your passion for directing comes from?
Yeah, I love scary story. I love the feeling as an audience. When I am an audience, I am a kid. When a movie is good, when a scary movie is good, I can't see the technique at all at first. I totally terrified. I can hide myself behind my coffin or something like that. I am really a good audience. I love that. So to be able to work for creating that is for me something I love. And it is so complicated, and I learn a lot each time I do it. It's why I want to do it again and become better and exploring new way to do it. But I am really, really, I shortlist everything. When I am on set, I always did the movie once in my head, entirely. And then there is reality, so you have to adapt yourself. But I love to think about those scenes and find a way to do them the way it will create something. And then the audience see it, and it's never happened what you expect, and you learn about that, and the time you do it again, you take what you learn and say, okay, now I know that I have to go slower. I know that I have to be closer to my character. And so it's really, really something I love directing movies. And
Amazing.
And I love to work with actors too, you know,
Amazing,
to find,
yeah.
It's a little bit to build that universe where everything suddenly exists.
Exactly.
It's so something you love. You built it. It's a lot of technique. It's a lot of work. And suddenly you have that little story and say, "Oh, we made that." That's a cool feeling. I love that.
Absolutely. Now, Woody, I want to throw the last question at you. Cobweb is really a scary film in the psychological thriller genre. What was your reaction when you saw the film finished? I assume you've seen it. Did it scare you at some points? I mean, I know being on set is not scary, but when you see the finished product, what kind of feelings did you feel?
So when I watched it, obviously because I had been in it, it didn't scare me.
Mm-hmm.
Brother was, absolutely terrified of it.
Yeah, you could say it. Yeah, he was. I mean, that's funny. Your brother was absolutely scared. Now, I want to thank you both. The movie, again, guys, is called Cobweb. It is premiering exclusively in theaters on July 21st. Me and a couple of my research team have seen this to get ready for today's interview. And we got together and we all loved it. There wasn't one person who did not love this film. It is truly something unique and special. And Samuel, congratulations. You give it to us from a perspective that I don't think I've ever seen before. I cannot recommend this film anymore. I mean, it's coming out in theaters July 21st. Check it out. I want to thank our guest, Samuel Bodin, who directed it, Woody Norman, who stars in it. I want to thank our audience, those of you who are tuning in live and those who will be watching this later on. Until next time, guys, on behalf of my guest and myself, stay safe and stay walking. Bye, everybody.
Bye, and thanks.
Bye.